Dr. Tami Meraglia is a double board certified doctor in naturopathic and integrative medicine and cosmetic medicine. So she's a busy mom of two daughters and the doctor with a thriving practice as a best-selling author and a speaker.
Dr. Tami, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. And we are passionate, and I think we share that same passion about helping people increase their awareness to achieve well-being. So
Absolutely. You know, I think that we sometimes forget that the Latin root of the word teacher means that, or doctor actually means teacher. So we're all here really just to educate people and allow them to get so much information that they can be the CEO of their own health.
Yes.
That is so true.
Well, that's well said. Absolutely. So we're here so that we can really keep providing all this information, knowledge, and hopefully they can experience that. So they become the broader perception and beliefs that what we could do in the health. So Dr. Tami deeply believes that the absence of a disease does not equal to the wellness. So can you please explain to our listeners more about this and why did you decide to become naturopathic and integrative medicine doctors?
So I did traditional medical school and residency, and when I was doing my residency and I was in the clinic, my patients would come to me and they would say, you know, doctor, I don't feel well. I don't have the energy that I used to have. I have brain fog. I'm not enjoying life. I have 10 or 15 pounds that I can't lose, but I'm, eating less. And, their sense of vitality had been lost. And so I would run the usual tests, thyroid and looking for anemia and all of these things. And when they came back to review the results, my training led me to the conclusion that they were fine. And they'd say, but I don't feel fine. And that's where I realized that fine is a 4-letter word. And nobody wakes up in the morning and says, gosh, today I really want to feel fine. We want to feel fabulous. And so I realized just because I didn't have an abnormal lab that matched a CPT code for the insurance company that aligned it with a disease, that didn't mean my patient was healthy and vibrant and had good health. It just meant they weren't sick yet. Even if their blood test was 0.1 in the normal range, they were still told that they were fine, even though they were borderline. And, we don't know what people's blood test levels of all kinds of things were when they were 18. Maybe they were at the top of the charts. And we don't test for all of the things that contribute to our vitality. We don't check in traditional medicine. We don't test for vitamin and minerals. We don't check the microbiome. We don't check the DNA and find out how the liver is processing things. So what I realized is the absence of disease does not equal wellness, and that you really need to have a more Chinese medicine approach where you work with a practitioner on a regular basis for an abundantly healthy life ongoing.
Yes, that is so true. And we have seen it in our personal lives, the range on those lab results is really wide. And we are unique beings. We're quantum beings. So we are all different. We cannot be like a standard number. So we can be within the normal range, but not feel fine or not feel great or ideal. And we know that you work a lot with stem cells.
I do. And we have a unique approach to stem cells. Stem cells from your own body, from fat or bone marrow. And then there's stem cells that are donated from live births from the umbilical cord and things like that. I have a clinic in the United States, and then I have a very big regenerative center and stem cell clinic in Mexico, in Puerto Vallarta, in a private hospital. And the goal of that clinic is to be able to allow better access so that my patients can, not just my patients, but anyone can have access to these treatments at a lower cost, because currently it's quite expensive. But our approach is very holistic. We don't treat people like procedures. We treat them like people. So stem cells, if you put stem cells in a petri dish, they actually can grow and become bone and cartilage and brain and nerve and all kinds of different tissues. That's the beauty of their stemness. That's what makes them stem cells. But Dr. Bruce Lipton, who is just an amazing human being and brilliant teacher. He was one of my guests in my documentary, The Healing Secret, and he shared about his early research in stem cells. He was actually one of the very first researchers in stem cell medicine in the United States. And what he discovered is that the environment had a huge effect on what the stem cells became and how well they did it. And that really, to me, was the beginning of learning about epigenetics and how we can, there's multiple layers of things that we can control in our environment. And if you think about it, our environment is not just the air we breathe and the food we take, but we have an environment inside of us. And then our stem cells actually have an environment, and that environment's called the niche, Niche. And the niche is, of course, affected by your body, as is affected by your external environment. So there's so much in our control for our healing.
That's absolutely amazing, the research of Dr. Bruce Lipton's starting point, but now you are taking to the next level with the research. And so for us, it's so fascinating. There's a neuroscience that talk about psychoneuroendoimmunology, where thoughts, right, that affect to the emotions. So the relation to how the stem cell evolve based on the internal environment that how your mind is creating. So could you kind of talk about that, how that would affect to the stem cell in a holistic approach? Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I have a way of explaining how your thoughts and your emotions can affect your bodily functions, including your stem cells. And an example, if you don't think that that's true, close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself driving on the freeway. And what you hear is sirens, and what you see in your rear view mirror is flashing lights right behind you. What's going to be happening inside of your body is that your eyes will dilate. Your heart rate will increase, your respiration rate will increase, and your palms might be a little bit sweaty. Why? Because you are having a full-on physical body response to the thought that you might get pulled over by the police and get a speeding ticket. So if our thoughts can cause a stress response and make us unwell, is it possible that they could make us healthy and well as well? So I like to think of our thoughts as a doctor. So what those thoughts and emotions really are doing is writing a prescription. And then that prescription is taken to the pineal gland and the pituitary gland inside of our brain, which is the pharmacist. And the pharmacist reads it. And, pharmacists don't have medical licenses. They're not allowed to change what the doctor said. All they do is take that prescription and they fill it. So this pituitary is that pharmacist, and the pharmacist dispenses chemicals and hormones into your entire body that match the prescription that was written from your thoughts and your emotions.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh.
That's a great explanation. And
Yes,
it makes it
I
a lot
love it.
easier for people to understand, because that's something that we we tell everybody, like, your emotions are connected to certain organs in your body according to traditional Chinese medicine. And then your thoughts create your emotions. So depending on what you are creating, what this doctor in your body is sending the message to your body, that's the response that you're going to create. So have you noticed in your practice, like, a relationship between certain emotions, specific emotions, certain conditions, and then maybe on patients with stem cell treatments, if they have a better prognosis or results if they meditate?
Oh gosh, I'm so excited about. I mean, that's a big question, or multiple questions. Excuse me. One of the things that you have a lot more knowledge than I do about different emotions and different organs. Full disclosure, I did study acupuncture and Chinese medicine.
Amazing.
I did. And what I learned was that it is an enormous body of knowledge that is very powerful and best left to those who do it full time. And so I don't practice because I'm in awe of it. And I'm a neophyte. I don't know enough. But I do know enough to say, oh, okay, if my patient has some abnormal liver enzymes and some congestion and increased ferritin and cholesterol, we're going to clean out the organ and we're going to make sure that there's no damage and look for hepatitis and look for alcohol and things like that and support it. But we're also going to have a talk about anger.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yeah. And that's, that's that pharmacy that's being the prescription written there, that they might not even make that connection. So definitely, a lot more about that. With regard to healing, I think that it's easier for me now to be able to predict people that won't get better with stem cell therapy or anything else. And I think that it is all about your mind and your mindset. Now, I'm not saying that you can think your way out of cancer, you can think your way out of a stroke recovery, but I think that it has to participate.
Right.
But there are some people who they don't know who they are if they're not sick.
Yes.
And it's scary. The unknown is so scary for all of us. And so to embrace and surrender to the unknown and to be able to create that new identity starts at the vibrational level, which is your thoughts and your emotions, and then your cells will follow. So I think that there are three pillars to optimal health. And if you have only one pillar standing, you're probably sick. If you have two, you might not be sick, but if you go through a big stress, you'll get sick. And that's where most of us are, right? And if you have all three, then nothing can knock you over. And those three pillars are structural. You need if there's nothing that you can think if you have a brain injury from a stroke or a traumatic brain injury, there's nothing that you can think to heal your broken leg. I mean, I guess there are some shaman and things like that can, but for us average peasants, there is not. So fixing the structure is really important, and it just makes it easier and faster. And that's where stem cells really come in. It really can fix the structure. The second pillar is chemical. Hormones, nutrition, all of those things are chemicals within our body, and they act like enzymes and coenzymes, and they affect the functioning of all of our cells and organs. But we also have chemicals outside of us. We have chemicals like pesticides and things like that affect us as well. And then the third pillar that isn't talked about in traditional Western medicine is the energy, emotions, and thoughts. If you had something wrong with your brain, I would check the electricity of your brain to find out what was going on with an EEG. If you had something wrong or something suspected to be wrong with your heart, I would check the frequency of your heart with an EKG. An MRI machine is measuring energy. People don't realize that that big banging sound, if you've ever been in an MRI tube, that's a magnet. And the magnet is literally ripping your hydrogen molecules out of every single solitary cell, releasing it, and it's taking a picture as it goes back into its place. It too is measuring our energy. And there's so many more ways that we measure your energy, but we don't talk about how to control it or direct it or hone it or improve it and optimize it. So I think that those thoughts and those emotions are so key to healing and to maintaining optimal health.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. Just you from your profession, as a knowledgeable expert, as even Western medical physicians that talk about just simple explanation MRI. How does technology, those energy tools, influence your body to create the measurable tools, right? So that awareness is important because people say, "Oh, MRI, I'm scared. I don't know about that," right? But then you really understand the essence of that. You are already exposing yourself to all the energy fields all the time, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And and it fascinates me how somebody can be so nonchalant and readily accepting of a fax. Like, how does a fax work? And not believe that their own thoughts and their own feelings affect their body. So, there is that transmission. There's the states of matter, right? We have vapor, steam, and things like that, and we have liquid, and we have solid. But there's actually a fourth state of matter that's very well written about and steeped in science, and it's called plasma. And it's not the plasma that's in our blood. It's a bioenergy field that keeps us all together and links us. And we know about plasma. We know about energy because we can feel it. You can feel if somebody's in a bad mood without them saying anything. How does that happen?
Yes, that is so true. So I have a question because we have seen a lot of my patients come and I can tell that they're not doing okay, and then they go to the doctor. Oh, everything is fine. Oh, but I have some inflammation, some pain on my joints, and they give them anti-inflammatories. But the labs, the traditional medicine labs, they are all within normal limits. What can we tell the listeners that they need to do? What's their next step so they don't stay with the word that, oh, you're fine because the lab work says you are fine. So it's not in their head. It is a true fact that there is something going on within them that they need to work on.
Well, I think that there's two things. One is we don't have all the test capabilities. We had a microscope, and the first time that we were able to look at something under a microscope, we realized that there was so much more to our world than we ever imagined. And that was the end of that. But it wasn't. Then came the electron microscope, and we were able to see so much more. So our tests are only as good as they are now. And perhaps if we had a better, more powerful, more sensitive test, we would be able to find that abnormality that you are feeling in inflammation. I think that the biggest thing is you need to trust yourself. You need to honor how you feel. And just because a test doesn't show that you're sick, again, it doesn't mean you're well. So yeah, you might not be sick enough for a diagnostic test to find, but that doesn't mean you're well. So don't everybody needs to remember that your doctor works for you, and you can fire them and go and find somebody else.
Don't fire your own source of the doctor, right? Pharmacy.
Right?
Right?
Exactly.
Toxic doctors in the mind to produce all the positive emotions and thoughts. Yeah. Yes.
And a lot of the times is the hormonal imbalance that not all the traditional medicine doctors do test if the estrogen levels are high or low, if the progesterone is high or low. So those can affect a lot and can cause some inflammation. Is that true?
Oh, absolutely. I wrote a book, and I was blessed to have it become a bestseller by Simon and Schuster. And the book is called The Hormone Secret. And you're right that hormones are checked, but not even all hormones are checked. So who, as a woman, gets their regular doctor to check their testosterone levels? But all of these hormones work together like a symphony. And testosterone in women is only a small bit, but it has an outsized role in how we look, feel, and function and how we age. So there's that. I find it's pretty rare to get a full holistic checkup from traditional medicine. And that's why we started a telemedicine program so we can help more people at my clinic. And the other thing is there's different ranges. So in my clinic, what we use is optimal ranges, not normal or sick ranges. So, and then the last thing is we follow patients. We have a membership. So many years ago, I was driving and I looked at all these gyms and they were having all these membership signs. And I thought, you know what? That's kind of like what we do. We're just like trainers, went to school a little longer, but we're trainers, and we just take care of the inside of the body, and the gym takes care of the outside of the body. And I thought, well, I'll just create a membership, and then we'll just see people 3 or 4 times a year, more if they have something going on, just like if you're a trainer and you have something you're training for, you'd go more often. So we work with people to keep you healthy and keep you optimally well instead of waiting until you're sick. So look for somebody who is going to do a full screening and then check that it's optimal range evaluation instead of illness range.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing all of the amazing wisdom. And we're going to put all your information descriptions underneath so everybody can follow you and to find you where you're practicing that. Yeah. And where you books. Everybody, please read the book.
And I have another book coming out. So when that comes out, maybe we can meet again and I can share. And this one's called The Healing Secret. And it's how to activate your internal healing system.
Oh, I love that. Oh. Very good. That's something that we recommend everybody. Yeah. Because we have a pharmacy, as you said, within ourselves. So we can heal our body. It's very beautiful. Any 3 last nuggets for everybody from you? Recommendations or tips that they need to do to start getting well-being?
I think that make sure every day you're addressing those 3 pillars. Make sure that if you have a structural problem that you're taking care of that. With regard to chemicals, make sure that what you're eating counts. I have the 80-20 rule. If you have a condition that you're trying to heal or lose weight or something, then you have to do a prescription with nutrition to get to your goal. But the rest of us, 80-20 rule, meaning 80% of what you eat should feed your cells and 20% can feed your satisfaction. So make sure that you're feeding your cells. Eat more plants. Eat lower on the food chain. Drink a ton of clean water. And then the third thing, which is probably the most powerful thing, is that third pillar of energy, thoughts, and emotions. Meditation is nothing but puppy training.
Yeah,
Our brains are like puppies and they don't want to sit still.
they don't.
And so what do? You sit down and you meditate, and then your brain goes, oh, I'm hungry. I want a snack. You go, sit. Oh, I didn't get anything ready for dinner. Stay. I mean, all it is that training. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. And there's a lot of research that shows that when you are training and when your brain does get into that alpha theta brainwave pattern, different chemicals and hormones are released and they heal. So, how many people have meditation scheduled at a very specific time each day to prioritize? And I challenge you that if you don't have it in your calendar, it's not really that important to you.
That is true. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for allowing me. It's an honor to share with you. Thanks for doing all this great work.
Thank you.